Open today's public meeting, January 2nd, 2018, our first commission meeting. And the first order of business I'd like to move to is introduce Whatcom County Auditor Debbie Adelstein and have her administer our oath of office to our Commissioner-elect Ken Bell and Commissioner-elect Michael Shepard. Thank you for being here, Debbie.
Let's check. David? Sandra?
Is it turned on now? Okay. Okay, so if you'll just repeat after me. Do you want to stand down there? If you'll repeat after me, raise your right hand. I, and state your name,
I, Ken Bell,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the State of Washington,
and the Constitution and the laws of the State of Washington,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and I will faithfully and impartially
perform and discharge the duties
perform and discharge the duties
of the office
of the office,
of Port of Bellingham Commissioner District 2,
Port of Bellingham, District 2,
in and for the County of Whatcom,
in and for the County of Whatcom,
State of Washington,
State of Washington,
according to the law
according to the law
and the best of my ability.
and the best of my ability.
Okay.
It was best when you kept it short.
Which side of you is he going to sit on? Have you decided?
Probably here for now.
Okay. I'll put it here. Ken, if you'll just sign it, then I can take it back with me. Michael Shepard? Sort of just a repeat, just a different name. So if you'll repeat after me, I, and state your name,
I, Michael Shepard,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the State of Washington,
and the Constitution and laws of the State of Washington,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
perform and discharge the duties
perform and discharge the duties
of the office
of the office
of Port of Bellingham, Commissioner District 1,
of Port of Bellingham, Commissioner District 1,
in and for the County of Whatcom,
in and for the County of Whatcom,
State of Washington,
State of Washington,
according to the law
according to the law
and the best of my ability.
and the best of my ability.
Great. Thank you. I'll have you sign it when you get over here.
Debbie, thank you.
Thank you. Happy to do it.
Thank you, everyone, for coming this evening. And welcome to my fellow commissioners, Commissioner Shepard, Commissioner Bell. Welcome aboard. You don't know what you've got yourselves into, but welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Now I'd like to do a roll call. Let the record show that all three commissioners are here, Commissioner Bell, Commissioner Shepard, and Commissioner Briscoe. And now we would like to move into our action items to decide who's going to do what. One second here, my piece of paper. First order of business, we'll select our Board of Commission for officers for 2018. And any volunteers for president?
If I might read the motion, please.
Excuse me?
Read the motion.
Yeah. Next motion.
A motion to select commission officers to serve as president, vice president, and secretary of the Port of Bellingham Board of Commissioners for the 2018 calendar year.
I would put forward that Commissioner Bell act as president of the commission for the year 2018. discussion about that, or if everybody's comfortable with that, we can move forward.
Is it too late to quit?
You should have ran when you were asked to come to the microphone. That was your point in time. Now it's too late. So, you good with that,
I am.
Commissioner
Yes.
Shepherd? Commissioner Bell? Okay, so going forward, Commissioner Bell will be president. Now we move to secretary, or excuse me, vice president. And
I move that Michael Shepard take the role of vice. Oh,
Vice
I'm sorry,
President?
Bobby Briscoe take the role of vice president.
And then that's fine with me. I will remain vice president if it's good with
I
you,
didn't
Commissioner
have-
Shepherd.
Right.
So I will remain as vice president this year, 2018. And that leaves Commissioner Shepherd to be secretary for 2018. Are you,
Said on the stipulation that no one has to read my handwriting.
I told him that Diane would help him out with it.
Diane can read mine, she can read yours.
Okay.
So with that being done, then we need to change a couple of seats.
Yeah, I think if Ken can sit in the middle, and Bobby, if you move over, this seat would probably be appropriate. We'd like to keep the secretary next to Diane.
And if we could just, for the formality of it, the slated of officers are President Ken Bell, a motion to have President Ken Bell, Vice President Bobby Briscoe, Secretary Michael Shepard for the vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Let the record show that the vote carries 3-0.
Thank you.
I heard that was one of the perks.
And this.
Wow, that was awkward.
Of executing the documents, it's easiest if they assume the chair in which they'll serve for the 2018 year.
Okay, so now we're on to item number 2, where we establish the date and time of our local meetings and regular commission meetings for the 2018 calendar year.
Right. A motion to establish the dates, times, and location of regular Port of Bellingham Commission meetings for the 2018 calendar year.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to have some discussion on Commissioner Bell. Our date and time of our regular commission meeting is the first and the third Tuesday of each month. And I also move that we move the meeting time for the calendar year of 2018 to a start time of 4:30 with no break, unless we run out of things to do, and a public comment period to start at 5:30. And the other thing that enters into this for calendars, the 4th of July is our first Tuesday, I believe, so that meeting would need to be moved. But I propose that we do the following Tuesday in July, and my calendar I don't have with me, but it would be this second Tuesday in July would be the meeting, and that we only have one meeting in July. And also that we stand with not having the first meeting in August and have the meeting in August on the third Tuesday. Those would be my changes and things I would ask for. I spoke with Director Fix about changing that July month to one meeting, and he thought that would probably work rather well. And if we do have something come up that we need to deal with, we can ask for a special meeting and take care of that. So that would be my proposal. So discussion on that.
Yeah, just to clarify, we're going to have the public comment at 4 o'clock and then at 5:30.
No, we would start our meeting.
Sorry, 4:30 and then at 5.
I think we kind of need to work around that. I think the public comment at 5:30, just one at 5:30, would probably do rather than having two. Although if it doesn't work, we can go back to having one earlier on. Usually if we can get, our house cleaning stuff out of the way first it would make the meeting move along quicker, I believe. However, if my fellow commissioners decide they would want to do something different, it's
So the dates of those, sorry, the dates of those meetings for the record would be July 10th for the July meeting, and for the August meeting, it would be the 21st.
And just one meeting in those months.
Yeah, it's a time of the year when really there isn't too much in-house stuff going on. Things are under construction. It's the time of year everything's going on. We've done most of our stuff through the winter, fall and winter months and spring months. So, and it gives staff more time to plan a vacation, I feel, with their family. And, you know, it's a time of the year when everybody wants to do things. And I've, in my time here, I haven't seen a lot of very important business being discussed. Usually it's housekeeping things. And as Director Fix and I talked about, if something did come up where we needed to act on something, we can certainly put a meeting together, whether it's via phone conference or whatever, a special meeting. That can be done at any time.
We also tend to have an extra meeting in June, or May or June, and we have an extra one in September, October, as we discuss the budget. So you get some extra meetings around that time frame.
So if that's palatable to my fellow commissioners, that's what I would propose.
And I'm just going to clarify a couple of things just for the record, and that is that the change being made here is that we're moving from a 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock session.
4:30.
4:30.
Right, but the existing today is a 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock with a half-hour break. That really became something that became unnecessary. I think it's better that we maintain some momentum. Moving to a 4:30 start and eliminating the break, so that the meeting times will change just a little bit different. I was just giving a little bit of background.
The one positive thing I might point out of the break time was that it did allow us to get up, and there was a lot of interaction between the commissioners and public that showed up in the audience with questions and answers and explanations. So, but I do understand also the need, you know, you kind of lag and everybody's sitting around trying to figure out what to do for a half hour. So it's got, both sides have its merits, and we tried the other. Let's try this.
I'm going to speak in favor of all of the changes. The one that I'm interested to hear feedback on is the public comment period, moving from 2 to 1, just at 5:30. But I'm in support of that.
As am I.
Okay.
Should we vote? All in favor of that? Commissioner Briscoe?
Yep. All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Thank you. My coach over here. And the motion passes 3-0. And now we move on to the action item where we appoint commissioners to serve as representatives on our boards. The 4 boards are Whatcom Council of Governments, Washington Public Ports Association, Whatcom County Economic Development Investment Program Committee, and Western Crossing, which is a part of Western Washington University. So as we appoint those commissioners, I believe volunteering for these would probably be the most appropriate. And let's start with the Whatcom Council of Governments.
I'll volunteer to be the primary on the Whatcom Council of Governments.
And we need a secondary.
I'll volunteer to be the alternate.
The Washington Public Ports Association is one that I personally would like to take the lead on. If that's okay. Do we have a sec?
I'll be the alternate, if that's okay with Commissioner Shepard.
Sounds great.
Whatcom County Economic Development Program Committee.
I'll volunteer to be the primary.
And I'd like to do a little bit more in that arena, so I'd love to be the secondary on that, if that's okay.
Very good, that's fine with me.
And then Western Crossing, I'd really love to take that on, if you don't mind.
Support
Fine
that.
with me.
And I'll take the secondary.
Okay. So as it is now, the commissioners appointed to the Whatcom Council of Governments are Commissioner Briscoe and Commissioner Shepard. Washington Public Ports Association is Commissioner Bell, Commissioner Briscoe. The Whatcom County Economic Development Program Committee is Commissioner Shepard, Commissioner Bell, secondary, and Western Crossing is Commissioner Bell, Commissioner Shepard is the secondary. All in favor of those?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Motion passes. We are assigned. Now the approval of resolution number 1106T, which delegates administrative powers and duties to the executive director.
I'll read that for you.
Don't look at me.
Sorry, a motion to approve resolution number 1106T, delegating certain administrative powers and duties to the executive director.
You sure you want them?
Do I have a choice?
Mr. Shepard?
I don't have any comments.
Commissioner Briscoe?
No, we've read through, there's been a couple of minor changes, and looked through it, and it looks good to me.
And I'm happy to endorse that resolution, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. And item number 5 is adopt the Port of Bellingham's rental revenue standards for 2018. You're up, Terry.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Diane, would you mind reading the motion, please?
Absolutely. A motion to adopt the Port of Bellingham rental revenue standards for year 2018.
Thank you very much. Terry Leahy, Real Estate Representative. Every year, the Port's rental revenue standards are updated based on current market conditions. These standards allow for administrative approval of leases or other agreements that have 5 years or less. The current market survey shows that the Port continues to remain competitive with its leasing structures. However, 2 changes are being proposed for 2018. The first change is a $1.50 per square foot per year increase in our rental rates for the Class A buildings. This remains within the marketplace ranges. The second proposed change relates to the Port's water-reliant commercial marine rental policy, which promotes marine trades on the waterfront. As background, real estate staff worked closely with the Working Waterfront Coalition last year to develop a marine trades policy which was approved by the Commission late last spring. This policy provides attractive lease rates to our marine tenants on the waterfront and has now been incorporated into the rental revenue standards as an exhibit. No other changes are being proposed for 2018. Unless the Commission has questions, we certainly recommend approval of the 2018 rental revenue standards.
Any discussion?
No, I have no questions.
I have no questions either.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
And now we move on to the consent agenda.
Public
Oh.
comment first. I think you
Oh, I've got the old.
got one over there.
And now we'll move the meeting into public comment sector, and I only have one name signed up for public comment. Deb Granger, would you like to come to the microphone?
I'm Deb Granger, and I'm speaking to you tonight on behalf of the Working Waterfront Coalition of Whatcom County. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. And I'm a board member of that, and also on behalf of Bellingham Sea Feast, of which I'm part of the team that hosted, that put that on this year. And I would like to welcome the 2 new commissioners on behalf of those 2 groups, and myself too, Commissioner Shepard and Commissioner Bell, and welcome Commissioner Briscoe back from the cloud the last time he was here. And I would like to, he's descended, yes, he's amongst us. And I would like to thank you all for your service. This is a big job, and you worked hard to get here. And I'd like to remind all of us that our country is founded on the principles of representative decision-making rather than unilateral decision-making. And so I'd like to encourage us all and all of you to continue to read, to study, to learn, to listen. And making these decisions requires informed leaders and informed citizens. And we, on the part of the Working Waterfront Coalition, are committing this year to be more systematic in our representation at each of your meetings and reporting to our members, of which there are over, I think the latest is about 125, and that represents a wide representation of all of our waterfronts. And then, like I said, and reporting to our members. So I also would love to present to all of you about the successes of Bellingham Sea Feast 17 and plans for 2018, but I won't do that tonight on your first night. So again, welcome and thank you for your service. Oh, one other point. I don't know if I'm beyond my 3 minutes, but you all have major decisions coming at you. And our citizens would love to be informed and I encourage you and applaud you for your opportunities that you have for keeping us informed and helping us get more informed. And one idea we had was maybe bounce these meetings around the county so that other people could more easily attend some of these meetings. That's an opportunity. There's many ways of getting the word out, but good job and congratulations and welcome. Thank you.
1 minute, Deb. I'd like to thank you I thank the Working Waterfront Coalition for their input through the 2 years I've been here. It's been very helpful, very resourceful. I'd like to remind the public that we need your input. We just don't know it's there. We do need it. We need your help. These are big decisions we have to make. And thank you, Deb, for your efforts with Sea Feast 2016 and 17. It was a great success and it's gotten better. And I hope 2018 is even better. Anything we can do to help. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, all of you.
I'm going
thank
to
you,
pile
everyone.
on and say that was probably the greatest event I've been to since I've been in town. That was an amazing event, the Sea Feast. So thank you.
Well, it's with everybody's support here. So, and more than that. So, thank you very much.
No other names on my list. If we've got other public comment, I see a hand in the back.
May I?
Yeah. Did you shave this morning?
I did not. I apologize. I didn't plan on speaking. That's usually the case. Darren Williams, Whatcom County resident, and welcome Commissioner Shepard, Bell, and welcome back, Commissioner Briscoe. I'm going to get up and say something, and it's kind of ironic because it's to the point. You guys just changed the agenda for the public meetings, and the public comment period is what I'm going to refer to. And I think this is a prime example. I'm now getting up and speaking to an issue after it's already been voted on, with no opportunity to address it prior. So if you're going to move the public comment period later in the meeting, you're going to have to take some real time in adjusting your agenda. Because at least now, even though we have to speak well before the vote, we can at least research it and have our opinions in order and state them, and then you can consider them when the vote comes. If you move the public comment period to after action items occur, when do you get public comment on it? After it's occurred. So that would be, in retrospect or after the fact, my comment about what happened tonight. And consider that, and maybe it's done through very careful arrangement of the agenda. That's possible.
And that's what we're looking at, Darren, not to exclude anyone here. And certainly, we still can have two public comments. That wasn't hard put out. That was to try and figure this out. It's going to take probably a meeting or two to get it figured out, but in no way is there any slight on our part to do away with hearing from the public before action items. And it's something I think that Diane and Executive Director Fix and we were going to look at to try and figure out if that works or it doesn't work. But that's where we'd kind of like to go, is to get some of the house cleaning stuff that's not an action item out of the way and then move to the public comments. And it may be earlier than, but we're trying to keep that public comment for the folks that work. They're going to get here at 5:30. So it's kind of a double-bladed sword. So maybe we're going to have to continue with both public comments. It could very well be.
That was what my point to the second half was, is it's not a bad idea because a lot of people cannot get here to speak at 4 o'clock. That's the truth. So careful arrangement of the agenda could cure that.
And that's by shortening from 4 to 4:30, you've only got an hour to deal with the other stuff, and it may take care of that. But we'll make sure we can get everybody in to talk.
Thank you, and welcome.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank you for setting a proper tone for my first motion of my chairmanship. Couldn't wait till the second or third one. Had to go to the first one, didn't you? Right from the beginning. Anybody else for public comment? Seeing none, we'll move to the consent agenda.
A motion to approve consent agenda items A through E.
So do I read the consent agenda items, A
Yeah.
through E?
We just need a motion.
Right, I made the motion, and you discuss whether you want to poll for any of them or pass them all together.
Any discussion?
I have none. I've looked over everything that's here, and I'm comfortable with the consent agenda.
I am as well. So,
Yes, I'm fine as well.
so shall we vote? All those in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. And I don't know how to move my screen. Oh, so
no.
somebody has to scroll that for me.
It's set up there.
Okay, with the consent agenda assigned, we get to take our break at 5 o'clock to reconvene
Well,
at,
I would suggest, let's see, what do we have on there? Is there anything we can move up?
Any open new business, you know?
And,
Other
and
business?
also, you could speak to the committee.
Oh.
Bring that up, read that out.
thank you for your patience as I get my training wheels on. Any new items that we can bring up so that we can move that to this part of the
For other
agenda
business, or-
for other business?
I
Is this
really
the
don't
time
have
to
any
do
for
that?
this meeting, though.
I don't have any for this meeting
I
either.
don't have any for this meeting either, so we can, that'll shorten the meeting. And then the advisory committee meeting schedule. We've got the Marina Advisory Committee scheduled for Tuesday, January 9th, 2018, at 6 PM at the Commission Chambers Harbor Center Building, 1801 Roder Avenue. And I guess I've got a question. Is that committee full?
Yes, we just
just filled it?
voted
I believe it is, yeah.
seven new members now? No.
Good evening, good afternoon, Commissioners. Alan Birdsall, Manager of Marinas. Yeah, we just added 7 new members to the Marina Advisory Committee, so we have a total of 16, I believe.
Thank you. And the Technical Airport Advisory Committee is scheduled for Thursday, January 11th at 9:30 PM at the GA Conference Room at the Bellingham International Airport.
And I believe did we just add some new folks to that?
Correct. It should be AM.
AM. And then, last but not least, the Bellingham International Airport Advisory Committee on Thursday, January 11th at 5:30 PM at the GA Conference Room in Bellingham International Airport.
Yeah, let's do this next. So Commissioner Bell, I'd suggest that we do the IDC, which is later on your agenda, so you would recess this meeting and open up the IDC board meeting so we can approve that budget.
Okay, I'm closing the meeting for the regular Port Commission meeting and opening the IDC meeting and reconvening a public meeting.
So the items on the IDC are to select a board of IDC officers for 2018, establish the date and time and location of regular IDC meetings. We typically do those as needed. Adopt the minutes of December 20th, 2016. Those should be in your agenda packet. And authorize the 2018 budget for the IDC, which is also in your agenda packet. For the officers, on item number 1, we typically mirror the officers of the port with the addition of Tamara Sobjak, who serves as the treasurer for the IDC board. The Port Commission doesn't have a treasurer, but the IDC does.
So if I could read the motion, a motion to select officers for the Industrial Development Corporation, or IDC, Board of Directors for the 2018 calendar year.
You guys want a brief explanation as to what the IDC is?
Did you see the deer in the headlight look? Thank you, Frank.
So every year, the United States Congress passes an allocation for tax-exempt financing for certain activities deemed appropriate by Congress, which includes student housing, environmental facilities like wastewater treatment facilities, de-inking mills are popular, and also for industrial development. And this is then allocated to the states, and then it's broken down by each state, and each state then can issue that amount of Industrial Development Corporation bonds. In each county, there's an Industrial Development Corporation. Here, it's the Port of Bellingham is the Industrial Development Corporation for Whatcom County. So in a manufacturing facility, somebody can come to the port and ask for an inducement resolution, and they can start to capture all their costs. Then they can go out to the market and they can get tax-exempt financing for their industrial development. The port is a pass-through entity. By that I mean that the bonds are sold typically in New York. The corporation that gets the industrial development financing is solely responsible for the bonds, but the Port of Bellingham's name is on them, and so the port has some guidelines so it doesn't end up with a black eye if somebody doesn't pay the bonds, although the port's never legally obligated to pay the bonds. The port gets a percentage fee from the industrial development bonds that goes into this IDC fund that can be used for a variety of statutorily authorized purposes. Examples of who has used IDC in the past, or at least does an inducement resolution, would be like British Petroleum, for example, and an expansion would do that. We haven't used them very often recently because with the interest rate so low, there's not really that much advantage to do tax-exempt financing. And so they're done throughout the state. The state has an agency. The port here is the IDC for Whatcom County. There's agencies throughout the state that will help do industrial development using the allocated capacity from Congress.
It used to be really advantageous because there's a separation in the interest rates, but now that margin is so narrow it doesn't justify the extra legal costs that these would bring. We're hopeful those interest rates will change again sometime.
And maybe you can enlighten the commission as last year's.
Sylvia might have those numbers. They're going to be very, very similar to your budget here. At one point in time, this was bringing in over $400,000 a year in revenue, and that money all had to be used by law for economic development. But it looks like we're down to about $6,000 in revenue now.
Right, yeah, we used to be able to fund a good portion of our economic development program with the profits off of the IDC. This year, we're proposing that we don't transfer any into the economic development because there's only $6,000 and it costs over $1,000 just to administrate. So there's not much profit left.
The big borrower of those was British Petroleum, but we've done everything from anaerobic digesters to expansion of dairy farms out in the county. So it's been used in a number of different ways.
Aerobic digesters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And our officers for 2017.
They're mirrored with the Port Commission. So the president would have been Dan Robbins, you were vice president, and Commissioner McCauley was the secretary. And that's what I would suggest you do here for simplicity. For establishing date and time of meeting, it's usually just as needed.
Okay, so the motion is? Sylvia,
Sorry, a motion to select the officers for the IDC Board of Directors for the 2018 year.
I would suggest that we do as done in the past years and mirror what the Board Commission.
And what was that?
And you're the president, I'm the vice president, and he's the secretary.
I'll be secretary.
And you have to appoint a treasurer as well, which is the auditor.
And Tamara will be the treasurer.
I'm in favor of that.
I
Vote.
support that.
All in
Take
favor?
a vote on it.
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Passes unanimously.
A
I'm in favor of that.
I'm good with that.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Commissioner?
Aye.
Abstain?
Yeah, you could both abstain and Commissioner Briscoe could vote yes or no.
I accept the meetings of December 20, 2016 for the IDC board meeting.
A motion to,
You can vote even though you weren't at the meeting, but we need a majority of the commission to approve the minutes, because otherwise it fails one.
Come on out on the limb with me.
a motion
I will
to
vote
approve
the minutes.
the minutes of the IDC meeting held December 20th, 2016.
I'll vote to approve as well.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, so now I'm going to close the IDC.
Adopt the budget.
We're going to authorize the budget.
Big bucks there
The $6,000.
that we're not going to touch.
A motion to authorize the 2018 budget for the IDC totaling revenues of $6,125 and expenditures of $1,272 as outlined in the attached budget. Authorize the IDC treasurer to approve the distribution and payment of the IDC funds in conjunction with this budget.
So I have a question. Will there not be an expenditure of over 1,000 if we don't take any money out?
The expenditure will be for the administration of the fund, so we have to do an audit and we have to do a few things to transfer, to track the money. But there won't be a transfer to the Economic Development Program for any other purposes.
All right.
No questions?
I have no questions either. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Commissioners, that leaves us with two items to deal with after the break. Both are regarding a Puget Sound Energy initiative, but I don't think there's much we can do before the break.
I'm going to close the IDC meeting, and we'll reconvene after the break.
One down.
So we're going to reconvene with family only. The Port Commission meeting for January 2nd, 2018. And we'll start with public comment. We have nobody signed up. Does anybody have any public comment? Seeing none, hearing none. We'll move on to items number 6 and 7. Diane, would you mind reading number 6?
A motion to authorize the executive director to apply for, accept, and manage grants from the Puget Sound Energy, or PSE, Business License Incentive Program for upgrading lighting at the Bellingham Shipping Terminal, warehouses number 1 and 2, and supporting properties.
Thank you, Diane. Good evening and welcome Commissioners Bell and Shepherd, and welcome back Commissioner Briscoe. The action item before you today is to request grant funding from Puget Sound Energy to replace lighting inside 2 of the large warehouses and supporting lands over at the Bellingham Shipping Terminal. As the port looks to become more energy efficient and utilize more sustainable energy options, grants such as this allow us to complete these renovations at not only reduced initial cost, but will also then recoup anticipated long-term energy savings as well. The port successfully utilized these PSE grants in 2016 and 2017, and these were down at the Fairhaven Marine Industrial Park and our warehouses down there. This current capital project was approved by Commission in 2017 in the amount of $124,000, for which nearly 35% of the material cost will be recovered by this grant if approved today. The recommendation from staff is for acceptance of the PSE grant funding. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Is there any cap to how much of this grant funding we can receive or apply for?
I'm kind of new to it this year, and I'm working with our facilities department on the project. It does vary, so a PSE then comes out, does an analysis of the energy usage, and I can't see the rhyme or reason on the percentages they allow, so it does vary. So I don't think there's a cap, but you won't recoup all of your material costs.
And have we had PSC do a similar evaluation for other properties, or were they doing this one because we knew that it needed attention?
Thank you. Director McFerrin chimed in. They have done an evaluation of all the industrial warehouses down at Fairhaven Marine Industrial Park. And then I had it done at the shipping terminal this last time.
We also had a McKinstry study done several years back that they came and did all of our buildings, I believe, all of our facilities, and suggested some energy audit stuff that we implemented.
Mr. Briscoe?
I have no questions.
And I have no questions. So we'll vote to approve. Commissioner Shepherd?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes.
Thank you.
Well done.
You got one more?
Got mine.
A motion to authorize the executive director to apply for, accept, and manage a grant from Puget Sound Energy, or PSE, Business License Incentive Program for upgrading interior lighting at the Bellingham Cruise Terminal, or the BCT.
And if I didn't say so for the record, my name is Dave Warder, Marine Terminals Manager for the Port of Bellingham. This action item is similar to the last, which we're looking for grant funding to replace some interior lighting at the Bellingham Cruise Terminal. The project is much smaller in scope, as there's only 12 large lighting structures, but they consume a lot of electricity. The anticipated cost savings will be around 81% of its current usage, so we'll see a significant reduction in our long-term costs. With a smaller scope of work, this is being paid for out of the maintenance and repair budget and out of the operating budget in 2018. And then it'll cover about 70% of the material costs, which will only be around $3,700. Both, by the way, I didn't mention it previously, the lighting, the installation of these lights will be done by our own facilities electrical staff at the shipping terminal and the ferry terminal. So yes, the recommendation from staff will be for the acceptance of this PSE grant as well.
My question is, what are you moving from and what are you moving to that's creating that?
I knew you were going to ask me. I believe the lights are currently metal halides, which are they just eat the kilowatts, and so they will go to an equivalent LED light structure.
So they are moving to LED, not to.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I have. Any other?
Great.
Move to approve. Mr. Briscoe?
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you.
3 yeses. Thank you. And well done. Is now the good time for that. Thanks, Drew. All right, with those 2 action items completed, we'll move on to other business. The first thing I'd like to do for other business is do a clarification on the motion that was made earlier. And unfortunately, Darren's not here to hear this, but we're going to read what we approved at the following, about our calendar year.
Sure. I don't have to, though.
No,
You're
go.
doing great.
No, if I don't have to do that.
Here we go. Now, the commission approved the following schedule for the 2018 calendar year. Regular Port Commission meetings will continue to be held in the Commission Chambers Harbor Center Room on the first and third Tuesdays of the month. Effective January 16th, 2018, these meetings will begin at 4:30 p.m. There will no longer be the preset 5 to 5:30 break. Public comment will be heard at 4:30 and 5:30 is what this says. Now, well, we heard some comment about that. Do you guys want to adjust that? Do you want to just leave it at 5:30? Do you want to have it at 4:30?
I believe here it says we're going to have it at 4:30 and 5:30, am I correct?
That's what it says.
And I think that answers
Darren's
Mr. Williams'
questions.
questions.
Yep.
And I think it's the proper, I feel it's the proper thing to do.
Perfect.
I heartily agree.
The months of July and August will have only one commission meeting. Those dates are July 10th and August 21st. All other months, the meetings will be on the first and third Tuesday, starting at 4:30 in this room.
That's my understanding.
Yep.
Bruce?
I concur.
So do we need to make another motion, or is that?
No,
That's just the clarification, so
Yep,
that's good.
yep.
Okay. Any other open items?
I have some other business that pertains to, first apologize to the staff and the public for not being here last meeting. I had some health issues and couldn't attend. So I couldn't say a few things I wanted to say, so I'll say them now. To my past fellow commissioners, thank you for giving me the privilege of working with you and learning what I have. And to staff, I say the same. Thank you for the privilege of working with you folks, and you're enlightening me and helping me do this job. And hopefully, in 2018, our new commissioners, Commissioner Bell and Commissioner Shepherd, will help build on the foundation that we've laid in the last 3 years as a commission and get stronger and better at what we do for the public. So, gentlemen, welcome aboard. Thank you for taking the time to do this. It's a big job. That's all I have to say.
Well said, thank you.
And thank you for your guidance along the way.
You can say that now.
Any other business?
Anything from staff?
Staff? Okay, family, we can go home.
Hit the gavel.
Meeting adjourned.